Welcome, everyone. The three of us, Anna, Angie, and myself, all A's. I just noticed. We're very excited to welcome you to this Physio Refresh update and Q&A. We are excited to share some information that we hope is helpful for everybody about the new programs. We're going to cover some dates and things like that, and then of course have the Q&A part, so we can hear some questions and hear a bit about what people are thinking and curious about. So Anna, if you can move to the next slide. So we wanted to start our session off in a good way tonight by acknowledging that the UBC Vancouver Point Grey campus, which is where we host a lot of our Physio Refresh events, is located on the ancestral and unceded territories of the Musqueam people. And we also wanted to acknowledge that the more than 200 distinct First Nations and 39 Métis chartered communities throughout the province are where many of you might be joining us from tonight, and maybe hoping to work as physical therapists in the future. Um, Next slide, Anna. We'll just start by introducing ourselves. So I'll start because I'm unmuted. My name's Allison Gregg. I'm a professor of teaching at UBC and oversee the associate head of the MPT program, so the Master of Physical Therapy program. I'm also the director of the Physio Refresh program, and have been involved with the program for many years. So that's me, and I'll hand it over to Angie.
Thanks, Allison. Hi, everyone. My name is Angie Wolf, and I'm an assistant professor of teaching in the Department of Physical Therapy at UBC. And I'm Allison's counterpart in that I am the associate head of clinical education for our Master of Physical Therapy program. So oversee the clinical placements for all of our entry to practice physical therapy students, and have partnered with Allison as we've moved into offering the certificate program as part of Physio Refresh, because it contains a clinical placement component. And I'll pass it to Anna.
Thanks, Angie. Hi, everyone. I'm Anna Faraz. I am currently the ACE exam operations manager. As most of you know, ACE is not continuing after February, so I'm going to be focused also on Physio Refresh, so also the program operations manager for that program, so dealing with registration and all the logistical and admin side of that program.
Awesome. So that's who we are, and what we're going to cover tonight. I'm going to share a little bit about the history of Physio Refresh and some of the changes that have been made and we're continuing to work on. We're going to highlight the new programs. We call them the core and certificate, and Angie will tell you some more about those programs. We're addressing a few questions throughout. So we had some questions about how you might choose which program is right for you. So we'll touch on some of those pieces. Anna's going to cover the key dates to keep in mind, and touch on the provincial bursary program. And then we'll open it up for questions. So if you can move, there we go. We have a Slido. Anna is going to put the number in the Slido chat, or sorry, in the Zoom chat. And please, if hopefully some of you are familiar with Slido, but if you go use a QR code right now, you can join as a participant, and use your device to just connect there. And please feel free to pop any questions in the Slido, and we'll keep track of those as we go along and hopefully answer them. So that is a way for you to share your questions with us. All right, next slide. So the Physio Refresh program was created in 2008. I was part of that original team who developed the program, and the goal was supporting internationally educated physiotherapists to prepare for practice in Canada. One big piece of that was preparing for the national exams. Over the past 17 years, we've supported over 750 physios from wide variety of countries. I felt like it was more than 750, but maybe that's about right. It feels like we've seen lots of folks come through our program. And over the years, we continually review our data and analyze our data to show that our pass rates on the national exams from people who participate in Physio Refresh are significantly higher than those internationally educated physios who don't. We're really proud of that continued success. So, yeah. And so highlighting a few updates. Well, we've since 2008, gosh, that's a long time ago, but we've continuously improved the program, always looking to make changes, make sure it's still reflecting practice, still reflecting the blueprint from CAPER and those sorts of things. So we've committed to providing opportunities to assist with the preparation for the national exam and also to support IEPTs to transition successfully into practice in Canada. So those have been kind of two connected goals of the program. Currently, there are a number of changes underway to align experiences in the Physio Refresh program with the new exam, the CPTE or Canadian Physiotherapy exam, which I'm sure you've all heard of. Very different format to the previous exam. So we have modified the course structure. So it prepares you both for the theoretical or the written part of the CPTE exam and also the kind of practical oral exam. So we've combined our course to prepare you for both of those pieces. We've also developed the certificate program, which includes clinical placement experiences, and Angie's going to speak more to those two pieces. And then we are also integrating more opportunities for our students or participants to practice demonstrating their competencies, their knowledge in an oral format, because that, of course, is a kind of a unique skill, is how you show your competency through a verbal or oral exam. We've also put a lot of focus on integrating more learning connected to preparing IEPTs to practice in Canada and in the Canadian physiotherapy context. So those are some kind of recent but ongoing changes that are happening. So over to Angie.
Thanks, Allison. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the core and the certificate programs. Next slide, please, Anna. Thank you. So CORE stands for Competency Refresh. You can, the first and second letter in that acronym there. And this is, as Allison mentioned, aims to support physical therapists as they prepare for the new exam or the CPTE. I'm always very slow with my acronyms to make sure that I get them correct. CORE consists of self-directed learning across 5 different modules, and these include the core areas that exist within the national curriculum. So musculoskeletal, neurology, cardiorespiratory, other systems, so systems outside of those systems that we just went through. So things, there's lots of chronic diseases are included in other systems, internal systems, those types of things. And then professional practice and transition to practice are in there as well. So the Physio Refresh Core program runs over 8 weeks in total, and it offers online and in-person learning. So the online curriculum has over 50 clinical skills videos that feature key examinable components of the national exam. There are 23 virtual patient cases, interactive multimedia presentations of complex cases, so really kind of gives you an opportunity as much as we can to simulate a clinical environment. There are practical and final exams, which include multiple choice questions and oral stations, as well as a discussion board, which provides connection to one another, so to other peers within the program, so that you don't feel isolated while you're in the program. There are also in-person events. So there are 2 practice OSCEs. OSCE stands for Objective Structured Clinical Exam. And these are held at UBC at the campus, at the Point Point Grey campus in Vancouver. Individual feedback is provided on each participant's performance, and there's also a clinical lab workshop weekend that's held at the UBC Point Grey campus as well. There are also virtual synchronous events, so similar to this, that you would attend online, but at a set time. There are 6 weekly online workshops that have been developed to review some of the key content and the practice exam questions. And then there are 2 transition to practice workshops, so that assistance to transition from academic content into what that would look like in practice. Next slide, please, Anna. Thank you. Oh, it's already there. They looked similar to me. So now we'll shift to the Physio Refresh certificate program, which does contain all of the content from core. So it's got the core program with the addition of a up to 100-hour part or a minimum of 100-hour part-time clinical placement. And this clinical placement is designed to support your transition to clinical practice in the Canadian healthcare system. So it is a clinical placement that occurs somewhere in British Columbia in a clinical setting. And the way that those placements are determined and designed is with the student's input. So the program would organize the placement, and we work with the student to make an effort to match you with either your area of interest or an area where you feel that you could benefit from some additional growth or some additional input while you're on placement. We also work to set up those placements in the community or a nearby community to where you already live and to where you hope to practice. The Physio Refresh certificate program runs over 12 weeks in total, and then we fit those 100 hours into that schedule as it works best for the student and for the clinical site that will support them. So it's a bit of a balance between trying to make sure that the student is on placement enough during 1 week in order to kind of gain experience, but also understanding that students have lives outside of the program, and so trying to help balance that as well. The spaces are limited for this program, and we do monitor kind of how students are doing within the core program to help guide the placement experience. So where you might need some extra experience or where some extra support might be required. We also pair all of our students in the certificate program. So they're on placement with a clinical educator, but then they're also paired with another physical therapist that we hire from UBC to help support them and the clinical educator while they're on placement. And that physical therapist also provides some one-to-one mentorship for the student as well. So sometimes we can set up a pairing so that you may have one experience on your clinical placement and then some additional support in another area of interest that you can have from your mentor as well. So we can kind of cover 2 different areas of practice potentially. Next slide, please, Anna. Thank you. So both programs are designed, so the core and the certificate program are designed to prepare you for the CPTE, but they have a variety of different learning activities online and in person and practice written and oral exams, but their certificate program is really designed for folks who are looking for additional support and transitioning in Canadian practice. So there's nothing like going into an actual clinical setting to see, to apply what you've learned and get feedback, and also to make some of those connections with potential future workplaces as you're transitioning to practice as well. Next slide, please, Anna. It's over to you.
Yes, it's my turn. All right, so I'm going to go over a few important dates for the upcoming cohorts. So for the CPTE in May and July, we have a core program running. So there's a cohort now, and registrations are already open for that. The registrations for that cohort will close in March, on March 30 or March 13. And the events, you can find this in our website. But the key dates that you need to know is for the baseline exam, which is in person, it's March 21st. For the clinical lab weekend, which is in person as well, it's in April 25th and 26th. And for the final exam, it's on May 16th. It's also in person. For our virtual tutorials, they run in these weeks over here. We are going to confirm those dates and share with participants when they register. And also the capstone tutorial, which is online as well. It's on May 13. So you can find this in our website too. So you don't need to worry about memorizing these right now. I just wanted to highlight the most important ones. And then for the core and certificate program that are preparing for the August, September, and October CPTE, registrations are also open for those cohorts. And the registration closes for the certificate on May 8 and for the core program on May 15. For the certificate program, we also run some interviews as part of our admissions process. So those interviews will run on May 13th. So that's why the registration closes a little bit before the registration for core. And for the in-person events, it's on May 23rd for the baseline exam. The clinical lab weekend will be in June, so June 27 and 28, and then final exam in July, on July 25th. The clinical placements for the certificate program will run between August 3rd and the 28th. And like Angie said, it's very flexible, so it depends on the schedule that we're going to work with the student and the placement site. So the student can complete the minimum of 100 hours in that time frame, so between August 3rd and 28th. And again, the virtual tutorials, the live tutorials the dates are going to be confirmed, and we're going to share that with the candidates, the participants when they register. Also, the capstone tutorial, which is online as well, is already confirmed for July 22nd. So the registration process for the program. So reminding you that the core program, the deadline is March 13th for the May and July CPTE, and May 15th for August, September, and October CPTE. The tuition fee is $4,000 for the core program, and that includes the online curriculum, so access to all the materials, the virtual sessions, and the in-person events. Anyone is welcome to join. You don't need any type of visa, but you do need to be in Vancouver to participate in the in-person events. So you need some kind of permission to be in Canada if you're not residing here already. And the full participation is required if you want to receive the letter of completion. So this letter is necessary for people who are looking to get a reimbursement through the bursary program. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the bursary in a second. So just keeping in mind that you need to complete all the in-person and virtual components of the program to be eligible to receive that letter of completion. And then for the certificate program, the registration deadline, so we just have one cohort open already so far. So for the August, September, and October CPTE, just a reminder that the deadline is May 8. The tuition is, again, $4,000 for the online curriculum, the virtual sessions, and the in-person events, plus a fee for the clinical module and the placement. So it's $1,910 for domestic students and $6,881 for international. So domestic students are everyone who has either a PR or a citizenship in Canada, and international students are the ones that have any kind of visa, so student visa or work visa. For eligibility, students need to complete their credentialing process with CAPER before applying. We need the credentialing process to be complete before you register to the program. You need to meet eligibility to apply as an unclassified student at UBC because you need to be registered to an UBC course. The admissions criterias and eligibility, you can find it in our website, but you can also send me an email and I can share them with you. And you do need to demonstrate minimum safety requirements to go on placement. So that will be assessed during the interviews and also throughout the program. And like the core program, the full participation is also required to receive the letter of completion at the end. So that includes both virtual and in person, and also the clinical placements for this program. So for the bursary, on July 19 or 1920, 2022, BC announced that 4.5 million in bursary funding will be available to support international educated students who want to work in BC. So students are eligible for bursary up to $14,812 with that will help with the costs associated to becoming registered to work in BC. And that includes also taking a course to prepare you to the exams. So you can find more information about the bursary by scanning this QR code, or also accessing their website, which is listed in the slide. And if you have any further questions about the bursary, you can contact them, or you can contact us, and we can direct you to the best person to answer your questions.
Thank you everyone for your interest and your great questions, and we hope we've filled in some gaps and answered some of your questions, and that you're moving forward with some more information. And we hope to see, although I don't see any of your faces, we hope to see your names popping up in our program moving forward. And I think I can say on behalf of the team, we wish you all the very best. We are hugely committed to supporting IEPTs and our Canadian reentry folks through this process. We know it's quite daunting, and that there's a lot of different steps, and we hope this program fills one of those supports for you as you go through this process. So on behalf of the team, a big thank you for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Just thank you so much for coming. It was nice to see all of your names, and thank you for being so engaged with all your thumbs up and your questions. It's always nice to know that there's actually folks out there on the other side when you're on Zoom as well. So appreciate you all very much.
Yeah, thank you as well. Feel free to reach out. I monitor the inbox, so any questions you have, just feel free to reach out, and I'll do my best to answer all of them as soon as I can.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.